absolutely love being from McGurk's. For so many years, we've been doing the Birds Town Hall, and this year, of course, we've got the trade deadline day, which has been very notable in past years, or at least this time. Now, it's not all the action always happens on the day of the trade deadline. Sometimes, like in Ruben's case, a lot of it was, I think it was July 29th, if I remember.
That was my big day.
That was your big day. You were like 3 days before. And then, of course, they moved the trade deadline up to July 30th this year. But as we broadcast today from McGurk's, it's all sponsored by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka, where today you can get, well, all sorts of great deals, including a lot of beers for $3.75. You got Bloody Marys and mimosas going on, $1 off statesides all day, and breakfast sandwiches till noon, and then obviously lunch menu coming up soon. All of it here with you as we broadcast. We, the station, broadcast from McGurk's till 6 o'clock tonight. Giglio and Hugh from 10 to 2. And then obviously it's going to be Ike and Spike and Jack from 2 to 6. Trade deadline today at 6 o'clock. And joining us right now, putting in that extra hour until his show begins at 10, Mr. Joe Giglio. What's going on, Joe?
Good morning, guys. How we doing today?
Good, well, frustrated.
I could feel it, of
obviously.
course.
Kind of confused. You know, I mean, it's like best record in baseball, but not feeling good right now. So, Joe, let's start with this question. Pose this to everyone. It's not the same question as biggest area of need. It's what's bugging you the most right now. What's bugging you the most right now?
It feels like they took their foot off the gas. You know, the way they were playing in April and May, it felt like every night they hated to lose. I mean, this started in spring training the way they talked. And I don't know what's changed. I mean, some of it's just the ebb and flow of a season. You're going to have a tough stretch. It just feels, Joe, like the last few weeks, I would say since they had the Dodgers sweep in the middle of July, and then they got beat by the A's, and they come out of the break against the Pirates, and then the Twins, it doesn't feel like there's that sense of urgency. And again, some of it might be natural. They're up a lot in the division. I get it. It's a long season. But when do you turn that back on? That bothers me. It's the way they're playing. That game Friday night against the Guardians where they were sloppy the whole game, error after error, that frustrated me. It's not the losses. It's the way they're playing
I
right
will
now.
say this, though. They do still show a lot of emotion, which indicates to me they still care a ton about winning. Like, if it was the old Travis Lee I'm making out, okay, whatever.
It's not the productive emotion, though. This is like,
well,
what you're talking about is like
true.
the impetuous emotion. What you're talking about is like the bat slam, or the helmet slam, or the
But it's still an out. I mean, that's just
on.
human nature.
It feels like this team right now, it feels like they're acting spoiled. It feels like they have been at the top of Major League Baseball for so long. They think that they should get more calls. They think that things should be bouncing their way more. They're up in arms that they don't get the calls. There have been stretches where they're complaining about pitches that are very clearly strikes.
There were some they should not have complained about. There were some they should have.
Again, it's externalizing the locus of blame. That's a problem. Like, hey, that's your fault that I struck out. Not my fault.
Right, so Ruben,
guys, they need to own up to the fact that they can play better.
Well, clearly.
It's not all in the strike, the calls from the ump.
Yeah.
You can play more consistent baseball.
So, Ruben, strong words here from John and Joe to extend on framing it that way. Fair or unfair? I mean, I guess I'd put it this way. When a team struggles, does it not look like this? So, fair or unfair the way those two just framed
I think it's fair. I mean, it's fair. They're not playing the same brand of baseball, but it's also, I mean, you can see some of the frustration. There was a lot of complaints about the umpires, and at some point you're just going to have to throw caution to the wind, man, and just go play baseball. Just go play baseball the way they can play, and I think it's just a matter of like a 2 or 3 guys getting it going. The other guy that I had mentioned, it's not just, the Turners and, the Harpers of the world.
Sure.
I mean, JT Realmuto hasn't really done a whole lot.
Well, and his on base is now down to 300.
He really has not. He really has not been the guy. And I know that he's suffered from an injury with his knee. He started off the season actually playing pretty well, but he just hasn't gotten really going. And that's another guy that sort of needs to get going.
Let's listen to Rob Thompson. He talked after the game about the struggles, which to a certain extent you can say now goes all the way back to early June. Since they got on that plane for London to play that Mets series in London, they're 21-22 in their last 43. That is average, obviously. Let's listen to Rob Thompson.
I think support them and remind them who they are. We're a really talented club that's going through a tough time right now. And I truly believe we're going to come out of it because we're too talented. So we just got to keep battling and keep grinding and do the things we did earlier in the season.
James, how much longer until Rob Thompson loses it on someone? It's not normally his way, but I get the sense that he can be more stern privately than people might think. What do you think here? When does he blow a gasket?
Yeah, it's a great question. I get the vibe that he's not going to anytime soon. I don't think this is
even in another
blow a
week
gasket on
You're talking about on a player or something like that?
A player or the whole team. Like if they go 3-7 in their next 10, you think
I don't
he's
know.
still?
I don't
Is
know.
that productive?
Yeah, I don't know. I just
I
don't
think
know.
it can be.
I think it can be, for sure, especially from
With this
him
group?
as even-keeled as – you would hope that being that even-keeled, that the same guy every day or whatever, the whole point of that is so that when you actually get frustrated or get
Right.
mad, that has an impact.
It's like Silent Bob at the end of
exactly,
Clerks
thank you.
when he finally
So
speaks.
I would hope that he's waiting for when he feels like he has to do it, but – it doesn't from that, like that cut we just played, that audio we just played. I mean, that was really calm. That was really like, hey, just remind them how good they are. Like, so I don't get the impression that he is as angst-ridden about this as we are.
But two different things. Public,
sure, of
private.
course, of course.
There's a lot of coaches and managers that aren't going to show much publicly these days, but will handle their business privately.
For sure.
All right, let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Mike in Mullica Hill. Mike, good morning.
Hey, Joe. Hey, John. Hey, Jim. How you doing, guys?
Hi, Mike. Doing great.
You know what? I've been waiting a long time. I kind of calmed down while I was listening, but, I called up the vent because I'm perturbed. On last night, that freaking jackbutt, whatever you want to call him, comes up in my field, hits a home run, and chisms his way across the plate and then get nailed the next time he came up to bat. Now, I'm old school. I don't like nobody showboating in my field. He should have been hit.
Look, Mike, I would do it too, but Mike, I will tell you this: the Phillies do their own shimmies. It's not quite as dramatic as what he does before he gets to home plate, but the Phillies shimmy on a single.
Yeah, I mean, Marsh on that homer yet last night did that little Sutter step thing when he hit the homer last night.
I mean, Mike, I would play the game the way you want to play it, but the Phillies play it not too far off the way Jazz Chism plays it.
Yeah, but come on, you don't dance across my field. You can do it at home. I know we had a lot of Yankees fans in the stands, and I'm not happy about that either. I can't afford the tickets myself, and they can, so it's good for them. But I don't know. You just got
There are ways to send a message, guys.
You walk them.
I'm with you, Ruben.
There are ways to send a message that this series is not over. There's two more.
So Ruben, it bugged you too.
Listen, I don't think I think in that clubhouse there's a number of players who are not Jazz Chism fans. I think that they'll pick and choose their spots. Let's put it to
I
put it to you that way.
Okay.
I hope they do, Ruben. Because I have a lot of respect for you. You brought us a championship.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen very often.
Not at all
in this day and age. But they have some old school mentality on this ball club.
Well, a spot could have been the ninth inning if the Phillies chose to put a real pitcher out there in the ninth inning. That would have been a spot. Instead, it was Stubbs giving up another home run to Jazz Chisholm last night.
Right. All right, Mike, give me an answer for a great Dave.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say one that's probably been said already because you stole his name. The true hammer, Dave Schultz.
Oh, Dave Schultz.
Great one.
He is the true hammer.
He is the hammer.
He is the hammer. There is no question.
You blaspheme when you drop that on yourself.
Well, you got to remember, people. It was given to me. I mean, I'm not a. I don't,
wait, that wasn't.
Well, I wasn't there
really?
for that. I was not present for the "it was given to you."
Well,
part.
too bad.
That's
I mean,
only what
by yourself.
You told us.
There's a lot of things.
Can you back that up?
You looking for evidence here?
I mean,
I'd
A
prefer.
recording?
No, that one I can back up. I was
There
given
actually
that.
is evidence.
I was given that
sadly.
nickname
Yes.
for
Really?
asking tough questions.
Yeah,
at
there's
press
a
conferences.
website you can find it.
No.
It's out there.
Tough,
Yeah.
tough questions in
Goodness.
press
Yeah,
conferences.
so this the one of all the nicknames, the one that actually sticks, the hammer, is the one he didn't give himself. What are the odds?
All right, let's go to Kenny. Kenny, good morning.
Hey, while I was on hold, the Yankees hit 3 more home runs.
Stop it,
Yeah.
Kenny.
I was at that game last night, and in the 4th inning, we went up to the souvenir stand and bought batting helmets just to protect ourselves.
That's aggressive. That's very aggressive, Kenny.
Yep.
But, Joe, I'm going to speak in the camera language here.
Okay.
Let's think back. Let's harken back to those New York Knights with Roy Haas.
Sure.
All right. who went through that midseason slump, due in part to Memo.
Yeah, you got a
messing
dumper.
up the
You got a
team.
dump Memo.
Yeah, well.
So you're saying Bohm's got to dump the new girlfriend?
No, I'm saying Rangers got to send the family back.
Oh, that's
Because
worse.
once she showed up, Ranger
Yeah,
went.
you got two relationship realities that have come to light recently. You got Ruben, it all fell apart when the family got here.
Come on, guys.
I mean, the record before and after, it speaks for itself.
It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Women, weakened legs, Rock.
Is there a causation, correlation, discussion?
Probably,
There
yeah.
may, in this case, there may be, even if it's inappropriate to say. All right, Kenny, give me an answer. A great day for the Green Day tickets.
Hot, juicy hamburgers. Dave Thomas from Wendy's.
Oh, that's a good answer, for sure. Let's talk to Gary calling from New Jersey. What's up, Gary?
What's going on? I actually was going to ask Ruben that. It just seemed like they were up, and they're like, look, we beat the Dodgers. We proved what we needed to prove. We're up by 8 games, and now we're on cruise control. It's I don't know.
There may be a little. There may be a little bit of that. I mean, again,
it would be human nature.
It would be,
but these guys at some point they'll turn it around. It's ugly right now. There's no question about it. This is not the brand of baseball that we expect from them, and they need to turn it around. But I think they need to sort of try less. It sounds kind of strange, but I think they just need to relax and just play baseball. Go play baseball because they're
press
too good.
less, not try less. Press
yes,
less.
Yeah.
Press less.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Yep. That's
Yes.
right.
Just have fun.
Exactly. Remember what fun was, and fun's winning. That's what's fun.
Ruben, did you hear the guy this morning losing his mind because Stott was pitching? They said somebody should have tackled him on the mound.
Stubbs was pitching.
I heard that. I'm not a big fan of the position player pitching. In this day and age when they have 13 pitchers, I mean, back in the day we had 9. When I played, there was 9 pitchers on the staff.
Right.
The problem starts in the minor leagues because people are not conditioned to pitch. They're not conditioned properly to pitch, and that's the problem with the people who are running the game today, because people should be able to pitch every frickin' day, and they're not able to do it anymore because they're not conditioned to do it.
And you know my theory.
Don't get me
Ruben.
on the.
No, here we go.
Don't get me on the.
Ruben, I'm with you. And here's the thing, because Seltz and I were going at this earlier. If a manager didn't have a position player in his back pocket to go to in a blowout, he would manage the game differently. Certain guys would have to go an extra inning or two earlier in the game, and then therefore you could play a baseball game without going to a position player. You could. It's not impossible.
You could. But in this day and age, I'm serious. I'm serious about this. The pitchers are not conditioned to do what they were used to conditioned to do.
Well, of course. That's
and
right.
it should not be that way. That's not the way to play baseball, and it's upsetting to me.
So they have changed the rule. You have to be. I think the leading team has to be up by 10 or down by 8. Like you can't just do it. In the
But I'll
second
say
inning
no,
now.
Joe. You're right. But I'll say this: when they changed that rule, without me doing the deepest dive on all intricacies of the rule, my sense was, this was like 2 or 3 years ago, my sense was, all right, good, we won't have that much anymore. It seems like they still find the way to get to it quite a bit.
I guess whenever it gets to the point where you've reached the threshold, down 8 or whatever the number is, teams just do it. Like the Phillies done it twice in 11 days?
Yep.
Stubbs just pitched twice in 11 days. That feels way too much.
All right, Gary, give me the best Dave ever, real life or fiction.
But real quick, is that the bigger problem, or is the bigger problem that Harper went 1 for 20?
Well, of course.
I mean,
of course.
How about anybody say David Letterman?
Yes, has been said. Give me a different answer.
Oh my God, what's my other David? Hasselhoff.
Oh,
wow!
There it is.
That's a good one.
Look, he's the only one that danced on
The
top
Hoff.
of the Berlin
Hey,
Wall when it came down.
Why don't we call Jeff
Yeah.
Hoffman? Why don't we call Jeff Hoffman the Hoff?
You could start.
I think it's a great nickname for him. He's totally a boss. The Hoff is a boss.
Does the Hoff sound like a guy who closes out the World Series? Does that sound like the right name?
I think
could.
so.
I like that.
He might be able to.
He
He's
certainly
got the
could.
stuff to do.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, bigger area of need today, or biggest? Outfielder, starting pitcher, relief pitcher.
They need another arm. I mean, I've accepted the point that they're probably not going to get another big bat. I mean, Luis Roberts probably not going to move. They already got Hayes. They've now said he's a starter. I don't imagine they're going to get a bat. I think they'll be fine offensively. with Hayes here now because, look, it revolves around Bryce and Trey and those guys hitting. They need another arm. I mean, they really haven't.
Arm, starter, or reliever?
I would go reliever, but I would not mind a starter, and then you can move things around. Ranger has relieved before, and now he's having back issues. He's got his innings going up. Like, as long as they can move someone to the bullpen come October, I'm okay with another starter. But, Joe, they really haven't added an arm. They just swapped an arm out. Dominguez is out, and Estevez is in.
But it's a much better arm.
It's an upgrade. No,
Yeah.
I think it's a significant upgrade. But they still – last week we were saying how many guys do they trust? And now we've added – they added Estevez. But, I mean, do you trust Alvarado right now? He's been very down for a couple months. So I need another arm that I could trust in October because we know how Topper managed in October. We've seen it twice now. He's very quick to go to the bullpen. So if they're in the bullpen in the 5th or 6th inning of some of these playoff games, they need more than 3 good relievers.
So, James, Joe just said, and he's probably the first person I've heard advocate this, the consideration if you add a starting pitcher that Ranger goes to the bullpen in the postseason. Like he's not one of your top 4, even though he was the top 1 in the whole National League for the first 2 months. Pretty unbelievable, by the way. So, James, do you think that's on the table?
I think everything's on the table, but I wouldn't expect that to happen. Look, I think Garrett Crochet is the name that's been attached to them as a potential starting pitcher. I don't think they're going to trade for a starting pitcher who, at the end of the day, come playoff time, I'm going to want to start a playoff game over Ranger Suarez.
I agree with you.
Assuming Ranger can get healthy and where he needs to be. But look, I think that they will be creative. I think they're willing to try anything. I ultimately don't think that'll be the